A little girl runs up to the police crying. Her small hands tremble as she wipes her eyes, her voice barely rising above a whisper. "Please," she pleads between sobs, "follow me home." The officers exchange confused glances. It's late afternoon, the sky heavy with gray clouds that seem to press down on the small suburban street. Sergeant Miller kneels to meet her gaze. "Hey, sweetheart, what's your name?" he asks gently. "Lily," she replies. "Please hurry. Mommy's not waking up." The words hit the officers like a punch to the chest. Miller stands signaling to his partner, Officer Reyes, and they both rush toward the direction Lily points. She leads them down a narrow lane lined with modest houses, her tiny legs moving faster than anyone thought possible. Her sobs echo through the quiet neighborhood, each one sharper than the last. The officers can feel the weight of panic in her voice. Something about this isn't routine. It's not just a child's fear, it's desperation. As they reach a small rundown house with peeling paint and an overgrown yard, Lily darts inside before the officers can even knock. "Mommy!" she shouts. The officers follow quickly. The air inside is heavy, stale, and cold. Toys are scattered across the floor, dishes piled high in the sink, and a single light flickers weakly from the ceiling. On the couch, a woman lies motionless. Miller rushes to her side, checking for a pulse. Reyes kneels beside Lily, gently pulling her back. "Sweetheart, give us a little space, okay?" Lily shakes her head violently. "She said she was just resting," she cries, "but she's been sleeping all day. I tried to wake her up." Miller presses his fingers against the woman's neck. Faint, but there. "A pulse. She's alive," he calls out. Reyes immediately radios for an ambulance. Lily clings to her stuffed rabbit, rocking back and forth, eyes wide with fear. "She didn't eat breakfast," she whispers. "And she didn't make me lunch." She never forgets. The officers exchange another look, this one filled with relief but also dread. Whatever happened here wasn't simple. When the paramedics arrive, they move swiftly. The woman, later identified as Sarah Thompson, 32, is loaded onto a stretcher and rushed to the nearest hospital. The officers stay behind to secure the house and gather details. Lily sits on the front step, her little fingers twisting the ears of her rabbit. The rain begins to fall lightly, soaking her shoes, but she doesn't seem to notice. Miller wraps his jacket around her shoulders. "You did good, Lily," he says softly. "You might have saved your mom's life." Hours later at the hospital, the doctors confirmed that Sarah had collapsed from exhaustion and severe dehydration. She'd been working 2 jobs to make ends meet, skipping meals, skipping sleep, until her body gave out. Her phone had died. No one knew. No one but her daughter, who had the courage to run for help. The story could have ended there, a small miracle in the middle of a long shift. But something about Lily stayed with the officers. Miller went back the next day, hoping to check in on her. The nurse told him Sarah was stable but weak and that Lily hadn't left her side. When he peeked through the doorway, he saw the little girl asleep on the edge of the hospital bed, her mother's hand wrapped tightly in hers. For the first time in days, Sarah smiled. As weeks passed, Miller couldn't shake the image of that house. He started asking around, learned that Sarah had lost her husband in an accident 2 years earlier. Since then, she'd been raising Lily alone, working double shifts as a waitress and cleaning houses in the evenings. Neighbors said she was kind but withdrawn, always tired, always polite. Some remembered seeing Lily waiting outside late at night wrapped in a blanket, waiting for her mom to come home. No one had realized how bad things had gotten. When Sarah finally regained strength and was released, she found Miller waiting outside the hospital. "You didn't have to come," she said softly. "Yes, I did," he replied. "You're not alone anymore." She broke down crying right there in the parking lot. It wasn't the first time she'd cried in front of strangers, but it was the first time she'd felt safe doing it. Word of Lily's bravery spread quietly through the community. Local reporters caught wind of it, calling her the little hero. But Miller made sure the attention didn't overwhelm her. He wanted something more lasting than headlines. With a few calls and a lot of persistence, he managed to organize a small fundraiser among his fellow officers. They repaired the broken door, fixed the leaking roof, and stocked the kitchen. When Sarah and Lily came home, they froze at the sight. A home reborn. Sarah fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "Who did this?" she whispered. Miller smiled. "Let's just say your daughter inspired a lot of people." The months rolled on and life slowly began to change. Sarah found a steady job at a local library, one that let her spend evenings with Lily. The officers would drop by sometimes, bringing little treats or toys. Lily had become something of a mascot at the station, her laughter lighting up the dullest of days. But the story didn't stop there, because every act of kindness has ripples you can't predict. One winter evening, a young officer named Reyes received a call about a lost child wandering near the park. When he arrived, he found a small boy shivering by the swings. The boy was scared, silent, clutching a worn-out teddy bear. As Reyes knelt down, the boy suddenly whispered, "My mommy's sick." Something about the moment struck Reyes like lightning. He thought of Lily. He wrapped the boy in his jacket and said, "Let's go find her." Later that night, when the situation was resolved safely, he couldn't help but think, maybe this is what it means to be changed by compassion. Maybe that little girl had taught them all something deeper. Back at the Thompson home, life wasn't easy, but it was steady. Lily had started school again. Every morning she'd wave to the passing police car, and every time they'd wave back. One day her teacher asked the class to draw their heroes. Most kids drew superheroes or cartoon characters. Lily drew 2 police officers, one tall with kind eyes, one younger with a warm smile, and beside them, a little girl holding her mom's hand. "They found us," she said proudly when asked about it. "They helped us when we were lost." The drawing made its way to the police station's bulletin board, where it still hung months later. Whenever new recruits joined, Miller would point to it and tell the story, not as a tale of heroism, but of humanity. "This," he'd say, "is why we do what we do. Because sometimes being a hero just means listening when someone says, 'Please follow me home.'" Years later, long after that rainy afternoon, Lily grew into a teenager. She was bright, kind, and endlessly curious. One summer, she asked Miller if she could volunteer at the station. "I want to help people," she said, "like you helped me." Miller laughed, realizing how fast time had flown. He set her up with small tasks, filing papers, organizing supplies, but mostly, he let her sit in on community events, where she learned what service really meant. People noticed how she carried herself, calm, patient, quietly strong, traits that mirrored her mother's resilience and the compassion of those who once saved her. When Sarah watched her daughter leave for her first day of college, she couldn't stop crying. "You've made me so proud," she said, hugging her tightly. Lily smiled. "You taught me to be brave," she whispered. And in that moment, Sarah understood. The pain, the struggle, the sleepless nights, all of it had led here. A few months later, Miller received a letter in the mail. The handwriting was familiar, but more mature now. It was from Lily. Inside was a photo of her standing beside a campus police car wearing a cadet's uniform. The note read, "You once told me being a hero means listening when someone says, 'Please follow me home.' I'm ready to listen now. Thank you for following me that day." Miller stared at the letter for a long time, tears welling in his eyes. He placed it beside Lily's childhood drawing on the bulletin board, framing them together, the beginning and the continuation of a story that had changed more lives than anyone could have imagined. And maybe that's what makes stories like this stay with us, not just the sadness but the hope that rises from it. A frightened little girl ran for help, and that small act of courage saved not only her mother, but also softened the hearts of everyone she met. Sometimes the world feels heavy, cruel, indifferent. But then a child reminds us of what truly matters: love, bravery, and the quiet power of compassion. Even years after Miller retired, visitors to the station still saw the photo and the letter on the wall. Officers who'd never met Lily would stop to read it, their expressions changing as they absorbed the story. It became a reminder that behind every call, every badge, every long night, there's a chance to make a difference. One choice, one act, one small voice saying, "Please, follow me home." And somewhere out there, perhaps on a quiet street not too different from the one where it all began, a young woman named Lily now wears her own uniform. She walks the same kind of beats those officers once did, carrying with her a memory, not of tragedy but of grace. She knows the weight of fear in a child's eyes. She knows how powerful kindness can be when the world feels dark. And every time she sees a lost child, she kneels down, softens her voice, and says the same words that once changed her life. "It's okay. I'm here. Let's go home."